Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you get some blessings this morning, sweetheart?
And you can be seated. We will begin with our invocation. Thank you, Creator Source, Mother, Father, God, for bringing us all together. As we come together, we open our hearts in gratitude for the space, for the opportunity for friendship and our connection to spirit. Gratitude for being in a human body. Gratitude for all around us, our city. Gratitude. And with this, we say thank you. And our statement of intent, which tells a lot about who we are. We are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. This is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding. It's a place to experience joy and be uplifted for ourselves and throughout the coming week, all we meet. We invite all of us to join together in this celebration of life, to nourish our spirits and to enjoy the company of kindred souls. And now, my dear friends, we will turn to our principles. We believe God is the eternal source and creator of all and is present in everything. Our eternal soul between the physical and spiritual worlds. Prayer and meditation strengthen our connection to the divine. All healing comes from Source. Seeking this for ourselves and compassion for others' suffering is the highest priority. Amen. Thank you. I'm going to do the introductions now to our day, to this first Sunday in the new year, 2024. I'm sure all of us have welcomed it in to our hearts, to our lives, to our mindset in our own ways. And today we're going to do that for our sturdy little church. And we know many of you are on Zoom today because the weather has been a little questionable. And we are glad we're all here together. We're going to begin in terms of our speakers, which are all going to come today from ourselves. And Lisa Cerri will lead us in a healing meditation that has very old roots in this church. It's been used in the past, and she remembered it, and is about sacred words, sacred names for the Christ. So we are grateful that she will bring us that with music and introduce that more. And then we're going to do some review of our year, because we have accomplished a lot in our first year of renewal, as we have termed it. And so we'll have those gratitudes, and then we're going to have a beautiful report from Denise, from the board, from our annual board retreat that just took place this past Thursday. And so she is on Zoom, and she will be bringing us that really beautiful message that she's really put together for us from the board. And then we will have, what are we going to have next? After the report from the board, then we will go into our offering, and then we will have another piece about a ceremony that's coming up at the end of January on the full moon, and we'll introduce that to you. And that will be from a group of us that are not all on the board. Some of us are, from 5 of us. And so that is our service today. And we are grateful that we're here together on Zoom and in the room. And so with that, we will turn to our healing bowl, which we also had a renewal for this week on Monday, on the first day of the new year. And so you'll notice that it doesn't have as many papers in it at all right now. But we're prepared to receive more prayers as we go. Anytime you want to put one in, you are able. And I wonder if anybody on Zoom or in the room have anything they'd like to add to us today for prayers.
Thank you, Carolyn. I would like prayers for my friend and mentor, the leader of Grandmothers for Peace, Dorothy Walden, and her husband, David. David is dreadfully ill with leukemia, and they went to Rochester last week for a long consultation that was not terribly hopeful. They're looking at a bone marrow transplant, but David is my age, and so the odds are not good, 50-50 at best. So extra prayers for David, but also for Dorothy, who is his wonderful wife and caretaker, and they are going through a very difficult time right now. And then I'd like to add a prayer for my son, Brian, who is going through a challenge in his life of the spirit and needs prayers and uplifting desperately. The death of his dad has been very hard on him. So thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. David and Dorothy and Brian. Mm-hmm.
Hi. A couple of weeks ago, I asked for prayers for my friend Nanette, who's in Spokane, Washington, in a nursing home, and her husband was just he was on life support shortly, just after that, and he just passed. Probably the day after we asked for prayers, he passed peacefully. I'm grateful. And Nanette, in a nursing home, she can't walk or anything. She was able to be with her husband through Zoom in those last moments of his life. And I think geez, I think our prayers make a difference. And I called and the other day, and her daughter and son-in-law, they need prayers because they're right with her mom, who doesn't speak very well, and she doesn't really think clearly, and we don't know how long. And so they might be, the daughter, Susan, might be burying mom and dad soon. It's like, oh. You just, it's heavy, and it's in God's hands, and it's all just the way it's supposed to be. Thank you.
And so that's Annette, and could we say her family? Yes. Mhm. Anybody else?
Sarah Paginen, Brent and Luann and their family, and Loretta's family.
What was the second one?
Brent and Luann and their family, and
Same old. Yeah, it's good. Sarah.
Loretta's family.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, as always, we ask for prayers for the earth. We ask for prayers for the humanity and for nature, both. And for this time on earth, that it goes smoothly and well as we enter this new year. And we will have some moments of quiet now, except for in the silence, the song on page 74 will come first. Amen.
Good morning. For our healing portion of the service today, we're going to set some tones. And this comes from Jonathan Goldman, who's an internationally renowned sound healer. And he came upon the actual sounds, what he refers to as the holy harmony. It's the 9 tones of some tuning forks and the chants of Yahweh, of which is Yad, He, Shin, Ve, He. So Andrew's going to play gently behind this, just an immersive bit of the sound with the vibration of those tones for a minute or two, just to seed the divine creation, the sound of divine creation within us. The intention is that it's actually a summoning of our divine nature with the divine of all that is, to create a greater measure of divine order in the world through us. So first, the sounding, and then the rising of voice. And we'll just listen to this for a couple of moments, and then we'll begin to join it for a couple of minutes. And just let your mind be awash with this sound, become a part of divine creation, and then allow it to pass. lift us out of our mind, our cognitive process, our cerebral wonderment, our physical being, and to join in the vibrational level of divine creation, which is the holy harmony. And that was the intention he put forth. The Yod and the Ve and the Yah and the Way are the Yahweh of the Christ's consciousness. And the Shin is the upliftment of light, bringing the sound of the vibration up to the next range.
Can you do a little bit for the people on Zoom?
The sacred sounds, Yod, Ve, Yahweh, are Yeshua in Hebrew, the Hebrew letters, sung in chant form with the Shin between them. So it's Yod, Ve, Shin, Yod, We. And the Shin is the frequency of light in sound, lifting the form another octave into a state of divine creation. So when we listen, initially, we are ordering our awareness and our consciousness and our mind and our body. We are allowing it to be ordered by the nature of the sound and its divine nature. And then as we join in that divine creation, we are summoning the power of the Christ consciousness within us, becoming one with it, and allowing that to order our vibration. And then as we walk out in the world, the awareness of that vibration enlivened within us is the hope of the prayerful part. And if anyone's interested, it's Jonathan Goldman's Holy Harmony, and it goes on for about an hour and 8 minutes, and it's a beautiful thing to just set a space with, or to settle yourself if you ever need to or care to. And I thought, in light of 2024 being upon us and the measure of chaos that we know is surrounding us and or we experience within our own lives, that knowing that there's a place where we can not only soothe ourselves, but empower ourselves and become one with divine creation felt vital to me. So, onward, Yahweh, Shin, Yahweh, into 2024. Blessings.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And I, for one, want to find that link and do it so we can, it's just on YouTube, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
many sources.
Beautiful. Thank you. And now, my dear people, we're going to have the opportunity to hear the things that we've accomplished this year. And if you would please sink into your heart in gratitude. These are our gratitudes. We began this year as a board knowing that we had just completed the idea that we were not going to be part of unity. We were going to be ourselves more strongly than we had since before COVID, when we began to consider unity as an opportunity for us to grow our church. And so we entered a year ago at the beginning of November with this board with the opportunity for deep renewal and a commitment by our whole community for renewal. And what we determined was that the first year we really needed to do all we could to clean the energy and lift the energy of the church. And so that meant inside and outside. and we really did a lot. I was surprised when I started writing it all down, how much it was. And so I'm going to begin with us as we hold our gratitude for each other as a community and for all the people who showed up to do physical parts of this. I'm not going to name names because there's too many. And really, everybody counts. The energy counts, and the hands on deck count. So we begin with thinking about the outdoors. And really, the astonishing thing is that there were heaving up drainage pipes, tubes, all along our front entry walk. They looked terrible. For all practical purposes, there's not a better way to say it. And so there are many, many, many pounds of stones supposed to be holding them and creating drainage. And over 10 people sat in the heat on the sidewalk and picked out all the stones into many, many baskets and containers. And then people dug it down deeper on both sides, just a little narrow trough like this, dug it way deeper and put the drainage pipe back down and put all the stones back on top. That was an immense project. And it was a hot summer time, and we had called for volunteer days. So that happened. That was the big kickoff. And we also looked at the backside of the church where we have an exit, an emergency exit, and the stairs had never been painted. They were just weathered wood. And there's a little shed there that makes it a place for the snow blower. That had a roof that was plywood that's probably at least 50 years old, according to me. I don't know, but it was really broken down plywood. And the door was totally rusted. It's a metal door, and it was totally rusted. All of that got transformed, people. That was a big job, many parts. And we also had have a brushy area back there that I'm sure is very nice for animals and everything. We didn't destroy it, but we cleaned it up. And we got big thistles out of there, and we got some old netting out of there. And so that was clean. And then we took we looked at the side of the church, and there's no plantings at all. It just is bare. And so we cleaned it up, and it's ready for landscaping this summer now, but totally maintenance-free, something or other that we can afford. And so that was huge work. An immense job was done on saving our asphalt parking area, because that parking area was full of cracks and was priced out at thousands of dollars to replace it the real way with a contractor. And instead, a few of our men took that on, and one with the burning vision, and filled all those cracks, dug out weeds, took care of it. We have years left now of that parking area that was saved just through sheer vision, gratitude for the church, and devotion, often in the heat. So this is huge. And then we also touched up the sign out front with paint, brought a few things forward, also fixed the lettering, and we installed the solar lights that had been purchased many years ago for lights on top of the posts that hold our big sign. They're not supposed to light anything, but they are a beautiful shining light there now. And that took several goes because they didn't all work, but we got them all the right thing going. So when you drive by our church at night now and you look at that sign, you'll see there's lights. So there's something there. We were happy about that. We have general landscaping to still do this coming summer in some ways, but those were huge pieces. We also had me inventing the idea of being a thistle patrol. And so wherever I walked in the yard, I noted where the thistles were and went back and dug them out. And so I ask you all to keep joining me in that next year, because a lawn with thistles, according to my mom, is not a good lawn. She paid a nickel for every thistle. We also did, I'm going to walk us now through the painting, because we had asked Scotty to be our contractor, who's a member of our church here, and he And I did over a week here. Here I am naming some names. But we did over a week here because we kept expanding the project. Because we started with the sidewalls. I shouldn't say we. He started with sidewalls, and I had consulted with Dar a year ago, practically, on painting around the window frames, and she had really advised me on some ways to freshen up the downstairs. So we started with those walls, then the window frames, and then we extended the window frames to the kitchen that you could see from the community room, to the kitchen, and then to the bathroom, because you could see that. And then we opened up the bathroom, cut the curtain, had it done with a seamstress, split the curtain, put on privacy screening, so we got daylight coming through that the big bathroom in the back, and we removed rust from both radiators, and there was torn and raveling wallpaper in the small bathroom in 2 places. That got fixed, and the painting in the big bathroom had that intense pink, magenta, cerise wall in it, and that took a lot of work on Scotty's part, but he got it out perfectly in the corner. So that's history. And so those 2 bathrooms got a lot of attention. And also Scotty realized that we have dark charcoal, very effective, I'm sure, foam pipe insulators in both the bathrooms and over by our coat rack area. And he realized he could paint those. Well, that was magic, because suddenly everything looked bright and normal, and it was the color of the walls. And so instead of all that dark foam, that just made it look like a basement. Doesn't look like that anymore. And coming inside now upstairs, we created the idea of, wait, we're not quite upstairs yet. We're in the community room. We gave names that came as they listened for names. We now have a community room downstairs. It's not the basement. It's not even the lower level. We have a community room. And we have a welcome table where our membership forms are, and any letters we get and cards we get from people who send us things. That welcome table is there, and it now has a label on it, our welcome table, with the little Buddha statue there that we've all had for years was up here where we didn't get to see it much, and now it's down there. And we also have a giveaway table for books and media that we can all share and pass along that way. And we also said goodbye. We released rummage sales and book sales because we haven't been big enough, but also it turns out the culture isn't buying rummage and books as much as they were. So that even one of the big churches, the UU church, had a very small turnout for their book sale when they usually have a giant book sale. So we released those ideas, and we have going to launch, and you'll hear a little about it today, our first fundraiser of a new kind. So we have conceived of an idea, and we've also been promoting the idea of monthly ongoing membership payments or support payments. We're calling them sustaining members, just like public radio does. And we are talking about those more. We're promoting those so that we have a better supply of monthly funds that we know are coming in, even if they're $5, $10, $15 a month, and certainly many of us can do 20 or a little more a month. And some of us already are and have been. We also released some things for the energy in this space. We with some ceremony and roses and gratitude card, released the organ. It was a remnant of an old way of church. And what we found out when we wanted to release it and give it away was that nobody wanted organs anymore. And already at the landfill, there were 3 sitting there waiting to be used in plenty good shape. And ours became another one, and we couldn't give it away. So the time of organs has been released by the culture, I think, in terms of church. And so we have more space here now, and we did it in a good way. We did it with a lot of time and care, and then a ceremony at the end. And we did our very best to do that in a really respectful way for the organ itself, and for Carol Giesecke, who had lovingly taken care of it for us and played it for many, many years, maybe decades. I don't know, but a long, long time. And we changed the pews. We curved the pews a year ago, right after the board retreat a year ago, the first Sunday of the year. Now we're on the first Sunday of the year again. And that's when we moved the pews into a curve. And we also put the angel quilt up here as our altarpiece that states a more open interfaith message of who we are. And we're going to move the Jesus painting that's behind there, and very beloved, and a very lovely painting. And we found out that it's attached to the wall. It can be done. It's not impossible. But it wasn't necessary, we decided, for our first year. And so now we have the Christ consciousness represented shining through that quilt. But the quilt was made for us. The quilt was given in a vision to Jan McTavish, an amazing fiber artist in this community, and she made it to fit this space. So it fit exactly. And so we shifted the energy that way. And we had gotten plenty of comments about wondering why, if this is interfaith, why Jesus was at the very front of the church. And so that was a decision that we all made together, I think, ultimately. And that was an immediate shift when we changed the pews. And we keep saying none of this has to be permanent, because as a board, we listen to the people. But indeed, it was important to bring it up, and everybody has gone for it. And then the last thing I want to say, we've saved money in a number of places. Our budget, because prices are rising on many things, including our utilities and so forth, and we have plans to do signage and landscaping coming up. At least we have stopped having professional snow removal except for backup. So an amazingly sturdy group has been shoveling for us this past year and begun again. And also we have, we shifted to a way lower cost for lawn mowing. We now have a teenager, a sophomore in high school, a young girl who's a good friend. I'm a good friend of the family, and she's our lawnmower now. And so we're saving a lot from having a professional big team do that. So we have found ways to do that shift. And we moved our speakers to the floor on both sides, instead of being on those dark, big shelvings that were here sort of looming over us. And so those are gone, and we released an old filing cabinet. So we've done a lot of releasing, cleansing, all 3 storage rooms. Everything's been gone through. We have done a lot. So we say thank you. And
we're grateful for all of those who have served so well and so diligently before us and helped provide this space.
And Laura has just said so beautifully, eloquently, we are thankful to all who have preceded us, who've come before us and given us this space and how far we've come. Right, thank you, Laura. And now we will turn to Denise, who will give us a report, another report of where we are and where we're going. Denise is on Zoom.
Okay, first of all, can you hear me? Is the mic on and I'm unmuted?
Yes, you're clear.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good morning on this first Sunday of 2024. Today, I'll be sharing the community meeting feedback we received from you in late 2023 and the visioning of our board going forward from our recent board retreat. So this will be in two parts. Part one is the community feedback. The community feedback included 15 respondents. Speaker series, service types indicated positive responses to focusing on a specific spiritual path, including Native American, Robert Aho, Islam, Judaism, and Get Wisdom. Excuse me. Spiritual guides, channeling, mediums, healers, artists on a path of spiritual discovery all received positive responses as well. Individuals recommended included both local and out-of-town speakers. We thank you for those. Less interest or limited time and focus was reported in social issues and community sharing. Music during our service listed monthly song Sundays as a positive and suggested for song leader in Barbara's absence, Michael Anderson. Types of music favored uplifting, positive, modern or known songs, all the way to spiritual and gospel. Possibly extending service when it is a song-focused service. Ceremonies. Ceremonies held on specific days of pivot, such as solstice, full moon, burning bowl / prayer bowl, were of interest, happening as those times present themselves. Stay tuned for an exciting upcoming ceremony, which will be explained today, actually. Social gatherings beyond the service for deeper spiritual growth, connection, and reflection. Unity Book Group is going well and is held in person and is available on Zoom. There is an interest in more groups, and some suggestions were online Gaia speaker workshops, Aramaic Jesus, New Earth, Power of Intention, and a youth group. Interactive workshops on Saturday or Sunday. Last Saturday, we hosted a well-attended vision board for the new year. We are ready, willing, and able to host these. If you know someone who has a workshop to offer, please let a board member know. Newer ideas and suggestions include a monthly meditation time, monthly game night or afternoon, lunch or suppers to raise money and build community, talent show. General suggestions were update or get a new sign with the correct time, focus on Unity's 12 powers, make meal for chum or loaves and fishes, revise our website, marketing, retention, and promotion / visibility, and tap into social media. Google One was also suggested instead of Zoom. That is the community feedback in a nutshell that we received from you in October of 2023 during the election. During our recent annual board retreat, we tried to address and we did discuss each and all of these as part of our many agenda items. Now on to part two, which was our board retreat, which just happened this past Thursday. And the focus was visioning of the board going forward. We really tried to focus on going forward and visioning what we see and what we can become. As we navigated through each agenda item, the community feedback was incorporated in the hopes of addressing the feedback and visioning forward. There is much to be grateful for in 2023, which you just heard from Carolyn's report of all of the wonderful things that happened. I will now share much good news, progress, and visioning together a solid future. Our legal status, that has weighed heavy on us for the last few years. We are clarifying documents, tax identification numbers, identifying signatures on all the accounts. These items are becoming more and more clear, and we trust as we move forward, the issue of the name on the physical property will be resolved. Financial news is also on the plus side. We now have $3,395 in our checking account and $3,388 in savings. And we have exceeded expenses for calendar year 2023 by $426. This will allow us to proceed with upcoming maintenance projects such as signage and landscaping that Carolyn mentioned. Donations of $100 were accompanied by a note from Carolyn Sheets are being given to Chum, Lifehouse, and Second Harvest Food Bank. Soon you will be seeing new laminated cards. The new laminated cards will be just one page, and they will include our opening and closing songs, prayer for spiritual healing, declaration of principles, the source creator prayer, and our church affirmation. You will notice a slight change of 2 words. 2 words have been added to our affirmation as part of our intentionally attracting people and growing our community. After the phrase, attracting the right ministerial leadership, the words and people have been added. Our years of service, our year of services will have more of a thematic approach. We will be trying to use 12 powers/words yet to be determined. Examples may include words such as wisdom, love, faith, inspiration, zeal, release. Each month, the speakers, songs, prayers, and/or readings will have a cohesiveness, adding focus and growth for all. The community feedback also helped us to map out the frequency of types of services offered throughout the year. We envision these as adding clarity and providing a construct for our services going forward. Now, more good news on growing our community and being more visible with easier access all in one big item. Barbara will be rebuilding our website, including updated information, photos, and links that will connect the platforms we are currently using, making it so much easier for people to find us and get the correct information in a user-friendly manner. The Friday emails, you may have already noticed, have been reduced to 1. It will simply announce the speaker and topic, followed by a list of upcoming speakers, followed by the Zoom link. And finally, there will be a tagline directing people to our website for more information, where they can find out all about us, our basic information, and any more specifics that they may be desiring. Our policies for use of space have been expanded. We had developed one for events previously. Now we have one to include workshops and one for ongoing groups. Each one has their own form and a fee table. Workshops will be charged a $50 cleaning fee and 10% of the proceeds. For non-members, the percentage of proceeds will be 15%. The ongoing groups have a simple flat fee of $10 per use. Future maintenance will be assessed and action taken this summer on either replacing or repairing the 9th Street sign. We will be reaching out to Todd Signs for an estimate. The lower door entrance will be addressed as well. Vinyl lettering will be added to the door with welcome and the time of service. Either a portable or permanent sign will be placed near that entrance to draw attention and be more welcoming. And this will all be happening in the spring, after frost, etc., so that we can do it properly. Finally, and this is the big news, save the date. Friday, February 9th, a Valentine dinner featuring love and lasagna. This will be a fundraiser with focus being given to sustaining memberships similar to those promoted by PBS and public radio, as previously mentioned by Carolyn. The dinner will include lasagna, bread, salad, and a dessert with mood music and candlelight included. Price will be per plate and determined after we research the food prices. An RSVP will be needed so we can prepare the proper amount of food so everyone has a belly full of love and lasagna. We sure hope this is going to be well attended, and we are encouraging all of you to come and share in this. We scheduled it for a Friday because it is in February and weather is always iffy, so that we have a little cushion in case Friday is a bad weather day. We can do it on a Saturday, the following day. Everyone will be encouraged and allowed to bring a guest if they so desire. And more information will be coming out on this very soon because February is just around the corner. More future events offerings that were discussed, which we took off of the community feedback, was monthly movies, monthly game night or afternoon, a monthly meditation time, and a talent show. We will need more community input on all of the above. Suggested movie titles, games, days, times will all help us to firm up these events because we would like to give our community the opportunity to grow and share with each other all of these things that they are interested in. The talent show will be happening. We have decided that it would be a late spring or summer event. And again, more information is going to be needed, input, and of course, lots of helping hands. These may be free will offerings for each, or as part of our fundraising. Also, as Carolyn mentioned, our fundraising the past consisted basically of two things: the book sale and the rummage sale, which we held annually, one in spring, one in fall. The last 2 years that we held them, they were not very successful. We had become a much smaller community and didn't have as many offerings. And as Carolyn pointed out, the public was not and is not as interested in those kinds of things. So we are hoping to develop a new way of supporting ourselves, sustaining ourselves, and firming us up so that we can move forward. We are looking, as I said, for easy, fun ways to grow our community and our finances. And I think that we have a clear vision and hopefully your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. We have great things ahead. Now, I propose before our offering, we turn to our affirmation, our church affirmation on the card, and you can look down at the bottom. She said we're adding 2 words, right? Thoughts of all members of the fellowship we attract through the right ministerial leadership and people to our spiritual community. That's where "and people" will go. So let's do our best to put "and people" in that place, and let's read our church affirmation together, please. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. we know as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership and people to our spiritual community. Thank you. Grateful. Wonderful. All right. We will now have the offering, and we will have a whole nother section, short but happening, on the ceremony coming up on the full moon.
We are grateful for this place and for these people who've given generously. And may these gifts be used to their highest and best. And there are many ways to give in church and then also easily online, set it and forget it. PayPal could be helpful. But we're grateful for how you support us. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. And now, my friends, we will gather for I got lost.
First, let's have a little benediction.
No, we have a whole nother piece to present on the ceremony. And so that would be, yeah, that's now. Right, thank you, thank you. What's going to happen now is the ceremony group will come up, and I will simply very gently introduce the fact that this was a message from Spirit, a suggestion from Spirit, given to me in an Akashic reading, that for the church we could help to attract the right people, the like-minded people to our church. And so that we are following those instructions, was instructed in all the parts you're going to hear. And so I turn it over to Julian to say a little more.
Hi, I'm Julian. So we had a nice meeting yesterday, and we talked about how we want to prepare for attracting like-minded individuals to our church. And that includes the addition that we did to the gratitude, the principle. And Carolyn came up with the idea, based on a communication that she received in the Akashic reading, that ceremonially we could do, for the next 3 months in a row during the full moons, we would do a ceremony where we would offer prayers, similar to the ceremony we did to renew the prayer bowl. We'll do a similar ceremony for 3 full moons in a row to attract more like-minded people to our community and to our church. See, I wrote a few things down here. We'll be taking advantage of that auspicious occasion of each and every full moon. Those are traditionally times of power and times of focus. And we'll be focusing the intent of our church and our church community on the goal of attracting new members to our congregation, as well as continuing the process of renewal that Carolyn talked about that began last year. This could include some of the things that we could include during each and every ceremony, the 3 consecutive ones. Identifying our strengths as a community and envisioning new ideas, concepts for the church, promoting the mission and increasing our visibility in the community. We came up with a few suggestions. There will be probably more ongoing suggestions for that as the future. Yep, Charlie had some good ideas too. Also, attracting and seeking out new speakers, continuing to do that. That's always been a big attracting element of the church. That was what attracted me to the church initially too, was the fact that there are speakers almost every week. And that brings in vitality and freshness to our church community and to our Sunday service. Additional meditations, visualizations, music and art, things that were brought about by Denise when she brought up a lot of those really good points. A very full list she had there as well, too. It was very encouraging. And keeping in mind that these aspects and qualities of the Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church that drew each and every one of us to attend our first Sunday service. Another thing that we had, another idea, I believe this was Carolyn's idea, and we all were supportive of it, were giving opportunities for members of the church to perhaps recall their very first experience coming to the church, or what drew them to come to the church in the first place. We did a little bit of that at the meeting, and it was fun. People could, and I shared a little story about, and I'll just share in brief what I talked about. Was many years ago when I was a college student, I won't even say the days, but decades ago, I remember riding past, and I've noticed this church for decades, and I didn't really have any idea of what went on here, although I had a vague sense of that it wasn't your traditional Christian church, as it were. And it only took about 35 years before I figured out that I should really come here, and I finally did. So, yeah, some of us shared some of our stories, and I think that would be an opportunity for those in the community who might want to recall their very first experience coming to the church and what initially drew them to the Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. So those are just some of the ideas that I had in brief, and thanks for listening. And it leads us to Charlotte.
Thank you, Julian and Carolyn and Steve. It was a very illuminating meeting yesterday, and I was given a task by Carolyn Brooks to come up with 2 or 3 adjectives that attracted me to the church, but I kept coming up with nouns. So I want to just say my first experience with the church and the service was because of Carolyn, my dear friend, Carolyn, and Carolyn Sheets, and her inviting me to speak. And what I was struck by when I was doing it was the openness and the kindness and the acceptance of the congregation of what I had to share, and also the deep understanding of my nervousness and fear and the calming effect I had. And I was so spiritually full after that, I couldn't help but come the next week. It wasn't so much attraction as I couldn't resist. And I think that this community, while it might be small, is not going to stay small. And I am so grateful. The other piece that I wanted to share is the openness to new people and new ideas that this congregation has. And of course, the variety of speakers is something that keeps everything fresh. And this is a wonderful place. I feel like this can be my spiritual home, and it's a place that I feel I can grow. I believe and know that I can grow, and know that I am already doing as a result of my experiences just in this short time. The egalitarian attitude of the leadership is something that strikes me as absolutely essential piece, and is something that has always been missing from every other church I've looked at and tried to and thought about being a part of. the understanding that everybody has of the power of the human spirit and its connection to the divine within us all, and then our ability and the ability and openness to participate in ceremonies, which was something I got to do on New Year's Day, and it was a privilege and an honor to be able to light the fire. So to that end, Carolyn Brooks will come and talk about how we can do that, just as a small example today.
Okay, so today we're just going to do a really brief ceremony, a way to extend our love and appreciation for this church. And we're going to do that by sending, well, I probably should have, I've got some little papers, and what we're going to ask people to do is to think about what attracted them to this church. You can use adjectives, nouns if you want. What attracted you here first, and what keeps you coming? And what we want to do is have you write that, just 2 or 3 words, just keep it simple, something that comes to mind. Andrew's going to play some music. I'm going to hand out these little pieces of flash papers, and you can write down, 3, 4, 5 words. And then we're going to have you go outside. Do we have a candle up here? And Steve will hold the candle, and you can just burn your paper, and it will flash up into the universe and will attract to the heavens the love and energy that we feel in this congregation, in this church, and bring that down back to us and attract more of that same energy that we all love about this place back to us here in this little church on the hill.
Thank you.
So Andrew will start the song, and then you can write down your words, and then after the circle, we'll go out the front door, and we'll just light those for you.
Carolyn's going to pass out.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send peace over the mountains. I send peace over the sea. I send peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my passion over the mountains. I send my passion over the sea. into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns to me.
Thank you. And off we go outside. It's warm enough. We don't have to put on a coat if we don't want to.
These little birds really.